Hi, I'm James, and today we have this on the desk, which is a Acer Aspire 5 A514-54 laptop. Now this is quite similar to the 53 model that we have looked at previously, and what we're going to do is just start by removing all the screws from the base. These are all, as we can see, exposed. There is quite a few of them for a modern laptop, but it's fairly simple to go through and get these taken out. Now these are being removed, I believe, with a Phillips size 0 screwdriver. I have a link to one of the screwdriver sets that I use in the description below, along with other tools and parts, so where you can find everything you need for doing this work. Anyway, we're just going to remove these. They're all the same size, but I just placed them off to one side in the same arrangement that I took them out. Just makes things easier if you encounter a machine where there is a different size screw in it. Two left now. And with this done, we are then going to turn to our pry tool. So standard plastic pry tool, this one's been used a little bit but still okay. And what we're going to do is go to the back of the machine and just press that in. Not too hard, but just enough to separate the base from the chassis. And then with that done, we're going to go to the corners of the hinges and down each side. What I like to do is just pull up lightly on here, just makes things a little easier. Same again on the other side. You don't want to apply too much force, just enough to sort of lever them apart very slightly, and then we should be able to just, like so, lift off the panel. Once inside the system, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to disconnect the battery here. So we have this tape which just goes over the cable. We're going to peel that out the way, just hold that down, and then I'm going to use a second pry tool and my finger just to gently slide out the connector there. Our next job is going to be to remove the battery. So we have a screw here and a screw here, and we can simply remove those. And with that done, we have the two little tabs, lift those and lift the battery up and then angle out, and we can remove our battery like so. So to remove the main board now, the battery being out isn't essential, but it does make accessing some of these bits just that bit easier. So to start with, we are going to remove the SSD. We're going to unplug the speaker. The other one can stay connected. We're going to remove this SATA cable for the unused 2.5-inch drive. We also need to just reach up here and gently unplug the screen. And here we have, pull the two sides of this connector for the keyboard and slide that out, and lift these connectors for touchpad and fingerprint reader. The battery we could remove with the board, but we are just going to disconnect that little CMOS battery. Again, just pulling the edges of this connector. And what we also need to do now is remove the Wi-Fi card. I'm just going to move this to one side with the aerials connected so it's out the way. With that done, our next job is to remove the fan. We then also need to just lift this little piece of tape. So 2 screws on the fan, and then again just disconnecting a small connector here for it. Now we can separate that completely, but what we're going to do is leave it attached to the heatsink. We can so we can lift and fold that out the way, but I don't want to break the tape there. So with that done, we also want to just lift this back corner hinge. And this is just a case of just pulling the hinge open. With that, now we are ready to remove our main board. So we have a screw here. And let's just check. Yeah. So we have that done. And we should then be able to... No. We also want to remove this SATA bracket. To give us access to the ribbon cable beneath it. With that done, we can then unplug this I/O board and peel up this little cable. So now we can check round and make sure there are no further screws into the main board, and we can then lift the board and heatsink together and slide the board out like so. Your replacement board, you may need to transfer the cooler and fan and this ribbon cable, but for now we're going to refit the same board. So we're going to put this into position, make sure we are not trapping any of the cables beneath it. And lower it down into place. Careful there with that screen connector. So again, we can reconnect our fan and our wireless card. Reconnect the I/O board. And then plug back in our speaker. Screen. Keyboard. Touchpad, BIOS battery, fingerprint reader, and with all those back in place, we can then refit our SATA bay. And our SATA connector. We of course then need to screw back down the fan. And refit this screw for the main board before folding down the hinge and refitting the 2 screws for that. For finally reinstalling our SSD. And with that done, the motherboard has now been replaced. To refit the battery, we then can simply slot this into place, making sure that the lugs on this line up, and reinstall the 2 screws. With the work completed, we are now just going to reconnect our battery, making sure that is plugged in and in place, and then reposition our back cover. To refit, we're then just going to start at the front and press that down to clip it into place, then work our way along each side and the back as well. We can then simply refit all the screws into the base, and it is job done with this machine. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, do let me know in the comments, or if you have any questions, hit the like button if it's helped you fix or upgrade your machine, and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more videos as we post them. Thanks for watching.